my friend.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
I have a friend in Jesus.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is my friend.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
He taught me how to live my life as it should be. He taught me how to turn my cheek when people laugh at me. I've had friends before, and I can tell you that he's one who will never leave you flat.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is my friend.
Hi and welcome to the Dakota Fireside chat. I'm not going to read any names, we're just going to do the questions, so these are all going to remain anonymous.
What up, tubers?
Howdy.
Hey, sorry for the shaky camera. The wind is blowing like a son of a bitch. I got a windsock on there, dead cat, lights.
Hopefully, hopefully you can hear us.
Hopefully it's not too shaky.
Some people asked to be anonymous and some didn't, so I'm just going to have everybody anonymous. First question. Is air travel and what would happen to airlines when shit hits the fan, particularly if an American in Europe wanted to come back home to help out family? Would air travel even be possible? Would satellite phones still work?
With the grid down?
Yeah.
No. No.
Yeah.
I think you're pretty much stuck.
You're done.
Where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, even if stuff still worked, there's going to be a lockdown. They're not going to allow you to travel until they figure out what's going on. So stay out of Europe.
Yeah. Stay close to home, because you're not even going to get a boat.
Yeah, I'm not a traveler. I like to stay put, so I've never really thought about it, but I'm pretty sure they'd lock shit down.
That's a good question.
Even if it did still work, I don't think they would allow you to leave. I think one of the first things that would happen was all airports would be grounded.
Yep.
And satellite phones, yeah, don't get me started on that. Somebody else can answer that one.
I guess it depends on how much of the grid is down and what's down. You know, if you have no power, that's absolutely everything is done. Everything. You've got certain issues, maybe economic collapse, where you still have electricity and things, the government is still running. That might be a different ballgame.
There's definitely going to be a blockage of communication because everybody can try to contact every person you know, trying to find out what's going on. There's going to be just
yeah. I mean, even 9/11, you couldn't get a phone call into New York City.
No.
Yeah.
It was done.
It's the same thing with Seattle when there was the earthquake. You couldn't get any phone calls in.
I'm convinced all satellites are just on high altitude balloons, so it just depends on what happens. I mean, more than likely those balloons would still be aloft. Sat phones probably would work, but who's got a sat phone?
Yeah, I don't carry one in my pocket. That was a good question, though.
Might be another one here. Let's see. I'm trying to do these in like reverse order. And some of them they say a bunch of stuff before they get to the question, so I have to scan through these and find out where the question actually begins. Okay, so I'd like to hear your thoughts on bugging in, staying at home when shit hits the fan, how to defend your location, how much of what to keep stored, power supply, offensive and defensive. Let me see what else this is here. That's basically it. So it says, thoughts on bugging in, staying home when shit hits the fan, how to defend your location, how much of what to keep stored, what you would use for a power supply, and then it says offensive and defensive. So,
well,
That's a big question.
I've done a video on this.
yeah, that's a whole video in and of itself.
I would always recommend bugging in,
Bugging in.
depending on the circumstances. If you have the option to always bug in, bugging out is, in my opinion, it's your last option. Once you leave your residence, you have no idea what you're getting into, and you're no longer really in control of your situation.
You're exposed to the elements, like out here.
And as far as defending, it's really going to depend. If you have where you live, I mean, a lot of apartments have one entrance and one exit. They have a front door and that's it. Yeah. There's no way out. I mean, you could be on a second story. All you have is a couple windows in the back. So you have one point of entry to focus on as far as defending it. If you live in a house out in the country, you've got a 360-degree perimeter you have to be concerned with. So it's going to depend on where you live as far as defense. And then he asked about how much of what to store and power. Here we're lucky because we got solar. It's sunny pretty much every day.
300 and something days a year.
Sappers brought a solar charger and it works great here.
Yep.
But there's a lot of places where if it's not summertime, your solar option might be limited. Of course, you've got generators, but they require gas.
And they make noise, so that gives away your position. Someone hears a generator, they know you've got stuff.
Yeah, you need light and noise discipline. You don't want to be seen and you don't want to be heard.
Quite honestly, you got to have at least 2 people, because you're going to have to sleep sometime. And while you're sleeping, if it's just you, you're unguarded. So you got to have at least 2 people, so you're going to have food and water for at least 2 people, if not more.
And yeah, how much is sort of like ammunition, as much as you can afford. You can't have too much. It's just going to depend how much can you afford and how much can you store. Because you're not going to find yourself in a situation where you say, damn, I have way too much ammo or I have way too much water.
And start off small. If you're just starting out, start off small. Think 72 hours, and then think 2 weeks, and then think a month, and 3 months, and then down the road. And as you grow your supply, you'll just automatically acquire this stuff. And it's cheap if you do it little bits at a time.
Yep.
And the other thing to think about is you've got your stored, food and water, but eventually that will run out. So you have to understand your area and where you're going to go once you start to run low. Find out where you can go to replenish. Like, if your water will run out eventually if it lasts long enough. So where's the nearest, where can you go to get water? You got a lake or a pond or a stream, a reservoir.
More than likely, power be out. You can't get water out of the faucet because the power plant ain't running.
Yeah, you're going to have to process the water at some point. So you're going to have to boil it, and you're going to have to know where you're going to find it. And obviously, you're going to want the closest source because you're going to want to stay. You're not going to want to expose yourself. Well, you want to expose yourself as little as possible. So if you do need water, I would probably recommend going at night and going somewhere as close as you can go to get it.
Try and experiment.
And it's going to be heavy. That's the other thing.
Exactly. Take 2 gallons of water and go a mile. Okay, look on the Google Maps, see if you can find a place that has water within a mile of your location.
That's 8 pounds per arm that you're
16
carrying,
pounds.
And that's going to be over a couple miles. You're going to feel it. Now you can do like Nick, get like a radio flyer, get yourself like a little red wagon. Of course, those are squeaky unless you keep them really oiled, lubed. And you're not going to want to be seen pulling a wagon of supplies down the road in the daytime. They don't do well over terrain, so you're going to have to kind of stick to roads, and you're going to be exposed, and you just are. So you want to get, your sources have to be as close to home as possible.
Well, with that thought, though, you've got everybody else in your neighborhood is going to be thinking about the same thing. Where's the water? I got to get water. I ran out of water. So all the other knuckleheads in your neighborhood that aren't prepared are going to be taking that water source that's close. You might even have to go further and further out to get water. Shit, we may have to drive, if we could even drive, we may have to drive out to here 45 miles just to get water, because there may not be anything close to us. And if there is, swimming pools, things like that, if there's anybody living in those houses, I would think that they're going to be guarding that shit just like we would be.
Yep.
Water's a tricky situation.
I thought of something and I forgot it.
Sorry.
No, I had a good one, I forgot it. But, I don't know, maybe it'll come back to me. Okay, this one here. Could an EMP destroy a gas generator? And if yes, is there a way I can wrap it or store it somewhere so a possible EMP will not harm it? Thanks, man. First of all, I don't believe EMPs exist in the way that they've told us that they exist. I don't think the sun can send a CME, and I don't think that a high altitude nuclear bomb. They might have an EMP weapon, just a weapon itself that generates an EMP. That I would buy. No, it will not affect the gas generator. There's no...
You shouldn't have any digital electronics on it, no computer chips.
Yeah, there's no solid state components in a gas generator. So you're not going to fry electronics. It's more...
Solar power, yeah. That's
anything that's going to have a computer chip in it is going to be toast. You can't handle that kind of voltage. Which is not a lot, quite honestly. It's not a lot. And you wouldn't even be able to feel it. But
then again,
computer chips can. They're very sensitive.
You're limited to your gas.
Yeah, I think EMPs are horseshit until it's proven to otherwise. I think if they existed, one would have been used by now. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about EMPs, but
assume that they are real, because you can't prepare for. I mean, you cannot stop preparing for everything. You have to be able to prepare.
I don't expect an EMP will ever happen, but you can still prepare for like the outcome if such a thing happened. Don't really worry so much about what caused the problem.
Yeah.
Just focus on, regardless of the problem, solving the problem.
I would look into homemade Faraday cages.
Yeah.
To protect electronics.
Personally, I think that's a waste of your.
But that's me.
This is from you.
It is?
Yeah.
I sent you a question?
Yeah. How do you download clips for adding to a video?
Oh, we already answered that one.
Video clips and audio that I use in my videos, I take them off YouTube. There's websites that you can download the videos, and you can download the audio of a video directly to MP3. I could probably make a video where the thing is, the websites where you can basically rip a YouTube video or the YouTube audio, they tend to get taken down over time. So I can give you an example of what I use currently, but it's like an Amazon.com link. It will eventually expire or go down or be taken down. But once you start using these sites, you'll know what to look for, and you can find another one if you ever go there and it says page cannot be found. You just find there's other ones, but I can share the two that I use. I can put it on the video. But
yeah, I've been a little slow, but I've got the YouTube, a downloader now. Now I do music and I do video clips, which, if you've seen my last couple of videos, it really adds to it. Makes the production quality a little bit better, funnier. I like to put comedy in there, so it makes the production a lot nicer. It's a pain in the ass, though. I'll tell you what. If you haven't done it, it is time consuming, because you got to find the clip, and then you've got to cut the clip to get the exact content that you want, and then you've got to put it into your video and clip it into that. It is very time consuming.
And you're also 90% of the time or higher, you're going to get a copyright strike every time you use audio or video from something else. So if you're all about monetizing, I wouldn't even worry about it. I wouldn't even mess with it. But if you're like Jackhammer Mike and myself, where we don't monetize, it's very rare that I get where it says like the video's not allowed worldwide or not allowed in a certain country because of something I used. But
I only have one.
But most of them do say that it's either not suitable for monetization, which I don't care, or that you basically kind of get dinged and YouTube gets all the ad revenue and you don't get anything, or the copyright owner gets the ad revenue and you don't. So I don't care about that. But I can make a video that shows you where currently I rip video and audio off.
Yeah, go to my channel and look. I'll put a link on some of this stuff and use the one I'm doing. It does a pretty good job. I mean, you have to put up with an ad every now and then, but you just click on it and kill it and dust. Nice. But yeah, it's a pretty decent one. There's some out there. It's easy.
Okay, let's see what this one says. What do you suggest somebody does for ranged weaponry, mainly for hunting and self-defense, who cannot buy guns and has a lot of difficulty building them, and who doesn't have access to bows, but can legally buy them? I don't...
Buy a lot of canned soup.
I don't know why you wouldn't have access to bows. I mean, but ranged weaponry, you got guns and you got bows, and what else? I mean,
Yeah, there's not much, if you don't have a firearm, there's not much you can do with ranged weaponry. I mean, I'm not understanding the question, I don't think.
yeah, it sounds like for whatever reason, you're not allowed to have firearms.
Maybe
I don't understand the bows. I mean, I've never heard of people who aren't allowed to have a bow, but I mean, if
Maybe
firearms,
some oppressive countries.
if firearms aren't an option, then you almost, it's pretty much a bow, or you can just throw ranged weaponry out the window and you're gonna go
crossbow.
Slingshot.
Is the farthest range you're gonna get.
slingshot. Yeah, but I mean, that's what, 50 feet.
Yeah,
I mean,
if that.
with some juice behind it. After that, yeah, you're gonna just piss somebody off. But I don't know. I don't know if you're in another country, maybe where things aren't. I mean, we're lucky here. Well, we're lucky in Arizona. The rest,
Yeah.
people think that the U.S. is just gun. It's not. There's a lot of states now that have been pretty much. You can have a gun, but they still.
Their laws are
They screw
archaic
you in
and
other ways,
oppressive.
like with the the permits and the magazine count
Capacity.
and the I mean, like Canada can have guns, but the process, the paperwork, it takes months. I've heard it's just a nightmare just to get one in Canada. So, but there's a lot of states in the U.S. that are similar.
And the cost for the permits and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I lived in Illinois, you have to get a card to present to buy ammo. It's like a driver's license for ammo. You have to present it, and they write down Joe Blow bought ammo today. He bought this many rounds. I mean, it's basically
You're
communist. You can have guns, but it's hard to get them, and they really monitor the hell out of it. We're very lucky where we are. I mean, we can still do. I don't think there's anything we can't do here.
Not really.
I had a friend today ask me if they came here to visit, would Arizona, does it have reciprocity with Florida? And I'm like, I think Arizona has reciprocity with everybody.
Yeah, well, Arizona's constitutional carry. You don't have to have a permit to carry concealed here.
Yeah,
So.
and open carry and constitutional carry is, so yeah, if you're coming to Arizona from another state, they accept whatever you've got, trust me.
Well, one other thing on that question. If you're talking about like possibly just hunting, then you better, if you can't get any kind of a ranged weapon, then you better start learning how to trap.
Trap, yeah.
And traps work all day long, and you can set up a ton of them.
And you can do traps for self-defense too. You can set
That's
up, there's
true.
people-
Booby traps are,
Yeah, there's people traps.
Yep.
I currently live in Delaware and have been planning to relocate to Alaska and buy some of their rather cheap land in the interior near Fairbanks. In your opinion, is Alaska a wise place to move? Also, what is your opinion on local militias? That's 2 questions. Alaska, I've never been there, and do we know anybody that lives there?
I don't know anybody that lives there.
I
would be my
anybody,
last
I don't know
choice.
anybody tied to this channel who has ever told me they live in Alaska, so I don't really have. As far as I understand it, it's probably maybe the closest to Arizona as far as freedom with firearms and stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything specific about Alaska.
I know that the weather would suck. The winters are harsh. From what I understand, you've got what, 6 months of darkness pretty much. So that would suck. And you have to be a pretty hardy individual to be able to live out in the woods or wherever. I think Canada would probably be, or Alaska would be one of my last choices.
Yeah, my dad spent 9 months in Fairbanks, but I never ever really asked him any questions about it. I don't know anything about it. Like Mike said though, weather alone, I would never go there. Now the wildlife is crazy. You'd probably be eating okay, but you gotta, yeah, you gotta weigh resources with the weather. And this windy. I mean, this is bothering me.
Yeah, the wind sucks.
It's what? It's probably
10 to 15 mile an hour gusts.
Well, I'm looking at the temperature. It's currently it's 76 degrees. I'm freezing. So, I wouldn't do well in Alaska, but and then opinion on local militias.
I'm for it.
I don't have anything against them. I don't think I ever see a scenario where I would join one because
maybe Oath Keepers.
When you get
something.
into anything like that, you always get politics, and you always get. There seems like there's always guys who are there, and they're, I don't know, for the wrong reason, and they're just too, you know, too hardcore, too, like, they think they're, I don't know, more than they are. I just don't know if I would.
We got some out here in Arizona, and, you know, you've got this dude who calls himself the colonel or a general or whatever.
Yeah, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about right there.
Who made you fucking king,
Yeah,
you know?
see?
Shut up.
And you got corporals and sergeants. And
it's like, shut up. Look, I want to join. If I want to join a group that wants to practice and be proficient with firearms, maybe teach some bushcraft and outdoor survival techniques, things like that, I'm down with that. But the militias, nah, shut up.
I'd stick with just close friends that all are like-minded.
People that you can trust,
form your own, group of trusted, and have, you know, hand signals, and you can do the same thing that militias do, just on a smaller scale, and without worrying about politics. And literally, people, you don't know where these people came from. You don't know if they're CIA. You don't know if they're, you know, infiltrated.
They could be plants.
Yeah. I would stick with the people I know, and basically form your own mini militia. Don't advertise it. Don't give it a name. Don't get shirts. Just get together once a month or whatever, and maybe one weekend a month, and
that's what I was
train.
About. It's a group.
Well, I've heard that like the perfect scenario with a group to survive would be like around 12-ish. So you could have people out on patrols. You could have people out on, you know, guarding. You can have people sleeping, and, you know, all of you working as a team to protect the group as a whole in an area. It's kind of like the dumb, you know, Walking Dead scenario. You know, you have to rely on other people sometimes in order to survive some of the stuff that might happen.
And cliques are going to form in a shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just natural for people to migrate towards like-minded people, whether they be good people or bad people, and you know, or gravitate someone who has like leadership qualities, who like Negan, you know, someone who takes charge. But I mean, I would be open to Mike and I having more people that hang out with us and do stuff, but I'm not going to advertise for it. If we come across somebody and we both agree, like, hey, this guy or this girl is like-minded, and I think we can trust them and get to know them first, I'd be okay with it. But right now it's the two of us. I would like to have someone who's like an actual nurse, like someone who has had medical training other than the military medical training we've had. I would rather have somebody, you know, I'd like to have somebody who is you know, a horticulturalist or a botanist, you know, someone that knew gardening and plants and what was edible and what's not and how to grow shit. I mean, that would be great. But right now it's the two of us, and we kind of have to wing it on the stuff that we're not proficient at and do the best we can and learn a little bit, but nobody can do everything. So I mean, we have the kind of first aid stuff that we could stop bleeding. We could probably keep somebody alive, but we'd have to get them some help with somebody that knew more than we do eventually. So yeah, I mean, we're open to that, but I wouldn't join a militia, and I wouldn't advertise for people, because you just don't know what kind of people are going to show up. I have trust issues anyway. I don't trust most people. I think everybody has an ulterior motive, and I'm not.
And it's going to be way worse if the grid's down, and after a few months, you really can't. You're not going to be able to trust anybody.
Yeah, you got to find them before and trust them, because afterwards, people will say and do anything they think is necessary to get into a group for security and safety reasons,
or just to jack your shit.
Yeah, how do you know they're not with a bigger group and they're just trying to find out where your stuff is?
So to summarize, Alaska, we don't know anything about it except that the weather would prevent us from going there.
Yep.
And militias, I would find like-minded friends, and I don't necessarily
Form your own militia. You could be a colonel too.
Yeah. Like I said,
I think it's more.
don't give it a name. Don't get shirts made. But let's see what do we got. All right, next one. What do you suggest during a shit hits the fan situation for someone who tends to be a lone wolf out of choice, yet is open to merging their ideas and backup plan with a few select others? We sort of just covered that in a way, some of it. What would you base your decision on who you would venture with, and how many people do you believe is a safe number without going overboard or having a meltdown?
So rewind this video about 5 minutes back and we can tell you all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a lone wolf too. I was always...
So I'm the same here.
My whole, for the first couple of years of prepping, and the whole time when I started the channel, all of my preparation, all of my plans, everything was me, and just me. That's why I was talking travel at night, and you know, it was all based on how I would do stuff by myself. And now I'm with Mike, and you know, and
we've teamed up, so we now have, you know, someone that can be on watch and someone that can be sleeping.
And as you add more people, that's going to continue to shift. Like if you add a medical person, that's going to change the dynamics. If you add someone else who can stand watch, that's going to change the dynamics. And that's going to change your overall plan. Because right now we're very conservative because it's 2. But if you have 8, you can be a little more, you know.
And you're going to have to train with them, guys. You know, you can't just meet these people, listen to their credentials, and go, okay, you're in. You've got to train. You've got to get out to the desert or wherever you can go, practice scenarios. Have some dude fake a broken arm and then get it treated. Get him treated.
Yeah, just because somebody says, you know, I'm ex-military, well,
whoop-de-doo.
That's not like a, you know, a blessing, like, oh, you're ex-military. They could have had a dishonorable discharge for all you know. I'm not going to ask to see their DD.
Could have been a cook.
Yeah. We're not going to ask for their DD-214 to like go through it, but yeah, they could have been in the chair force. What good is that?
Yeah.
Unless you got a plane and you're bringing to the party.
They could have been in the marching band.
So yeah, it's like you said, you gotta get to know the people personally, and don't just take them at face value. You gotta go out. Like the Sappers this weekend, he spent the weekend with us. We have a lot better understanding of who he is now than we did 2 days ago. You gotta spend time with people, and then don't be afraid to tell somebody, like, you know, this ain't gonna work out. You know, you're not what we're looking for, right?
Yeah, like me, I have my family to take care of, so.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Mike and I are single, and we don't have anybody. That's a whole different. I can't answer those questions, but that's why Sappers is here. He's the only one out of the 3 that can answer family prepping questions.
You know, my son's 20 miles away. Whether I can get to them or not, or him, and my daughter is 30, 40 miles away, and my son's in California, my other one. So it's like I got 3 kids that are so far away that I couldn't do anything. I emailed them the other day, or texted them, hey, look guys, I've got supplies, I've got security, we've got things. If you have a problem or shit hits the fan, come here, because I can't go to every one of these spots to get you and bring you back. You gotta have to come here or you're on your own.
Yeah,
harsh, but it is
that
what it
brings
is.
up like the neighbors too. Like people like see you doing things and go,
yeah.
And then when shit hits the fan, they're like, I remember that guy's got guns. I saw him carrying like cases of water into his garage. So even neighbors, if you don't know them, if they're friends of yours, that's one thing. But if they're stranger neighbors, I would be a little stealthy on like flaunting that you've
got to be a lot better at it.
Yeah, we
do open.
We do. Yeah. We open the garage door and we're doing videos in the garage, and we got we're holding firearms.
Neighbors walking by, kids.
Yeah, so we're not very good at that, but I would suggest that's something that you focus on.
What's that?
I usually back the car up. Like
well, we got the truck, you know, my van and his turn in the driveway, but you still, you know, they just have to be a little more stealthy about it. Again, I don't want to be a dick to my neighbors, but I'm definitely going to have to be. You know, I got my food. Where's yours, dude? You don't come over to my house and ask me for food. Because
Yeah, we've been really blatant though, like, because when I painted my 30-06 and put the new scope on it, we were standing on the street looking down and we're pointing it at trees. I mean, we're not very good at like keeping that shit under wraps. People know like what house is probably going to be defended. But yeah, if you haven't done that yet and given yourself away to all your neighbors, that's something you probably want to. It's too late for us.
Jesus is a friend of mine.
Jesus is my friend.
Jesus is a friend of
I
mine.
have a friend.